The Vaudvillains. I like these guys. They definitely have their place as the comedic jobbers of the tag team division. They're fine for what they are.
They have an interesting character. Their entrance it's kind of cringeworthy, but at least it's entertaining, right? So I don't know. It's kind of sad to see what the Vaudvillains have become. I think the Vaudvillains should be the first SmackDown Tag Team Champions, and they should kind of just go from there and build from there. But they're probably going to give it to American Alpha, so they probably are going to be jobbers.
AJ Styles. Now, we were both pretty big AJ Styles fans while he was in TNA, so we kind of have a soft spot for him, even though he does kind of represent the type of wrestler that we usually hate, but he is a great talent overall. You know, he's really a great utility player that can also work as one of the top guys on SmackDown, so no complaints.
Actually, he was my favorite on TNA for a lot of years. Up until I think we started copying Ric Flair, and it was at that point that I just given up on him. In the WWE, like you said, he's been okay. I think he's okay. I think he's good enough to be like a top guy on SmackDown. And now, who's he gonna feud with now? Dolph Ziggler over, who has the stupidest hair? There's really, since SmackDown's roster is even more depleted than Raw's, there's not much for him to do. But then again, there's not much for anyone to do.
Alberto Del Rio. Yeah, he's going to quit anyway, so hopefully he takes Paige with him.
Well, I thought Del Rio was great in his initial run, and he kind of just lost his way around there. It was after he turned face that he started kind of losing his characteristics, and he just wasn't himself, and he never recovered after that. So I don't think what's sad is no one's really going to miss him, even though they marked the fuck out for him when he came back and thought this was his big time return.
Alexa Bliss. I have to say, Alexa Bliss is easily the hottest piece of ass in the Divas division by far. So I'm just... wait. Oh, man, did I really just say that? Okay, I'm sorry, guys. That was really disrespectful of me. Please forgive me for being a sexist pig and everything. What I meant to say was, she's the hottest piece of ass in the women's division. Have to show a little bit of respect there. But yeah, Alexa Bliss is awesome. She's loaded with charisma, she's athletic, she knows how to incorporate her character into her matches, she's solid on the mic, and she's one of the few complete packages in the division right now. So she definitely has a lot of potential. If I had to make one nitpick though, I guess it'd be that she kind of has that resting bitch face going on, but I guess that kind of works with her character, right?
Yeah, I actually like Alexa Bliss because, when she talks on the mic, I actually believe what she's saying. She sounds believable. I've never really watched any of her matches, so I can't be a fair judge as to her wrestling ability, but it seems like she has the intangibles in terms of character and charisma to be a top player in the women's division for years to come. And like you said, she's hot, she's nice to look at, so there's definitely that. So hopefully there's nothing but good things in Alexa Bliss's future.
Apollo Crews. I kind of want to like this guy because he does have a believable presence and he has a good mix of power and athleticism, so there's a lot of potential there. But I think what he needs to make him interesting is a heel turn to give him that little bit of an edge that he's missing right now. Because right now, his character is pretty bland. And that's probably his biggest problem, is that he doesn't really have a character that we can get behind. But if he just had that, he might have potential to be a good superstar.
Like I said on the review a while back, he would actually be okay if he just stopped smiling all the goddamn time. He wrestles well, he has a good look, he's actually believable when he does his things. So, yeah, the only thing he needs work on is his character, because right now he's just this smiling goofball from out of the box who's welcoming you into the show. What they need to do, I don't think a heel turn would work because I don't think he would stop smiling if he was a heel. Just work on his character, give him something to work with here. Don't just make him a guy who smiles all the goddamn time. And I think his upper mid-card pushes could work. Possible main event push could work depending on what his character is. But if they do it right, I can definitely see this guy being a main event guy on SmackDown.
Baron Corbin. His gimmick actually has a lot of potential Because right now, what we need in wrestling more than anything is a character that appeals to the real wrestling fans who are sick of vanilla midgets killing the company. So what they need to do is they need to make Baron Corbin into the anti-Smark. Have him start cutting work shoots on the company and how all these NXT jobbers are driving away all the real fans. Have him go after and squash all the boring vanilla midgets like Sami Zayn every week. Hell, have them come out whenever they're in a smart crowd like Chicago and just let them bury that whole crowd of smarks, letting them know that they're responsible for killing wrestling and that them cheering for underwear models like Finn Balor over real wrestlers like him is going to end up putting the company out of business. They could really make Baron Corbin into a hero of wrestling if they really put the effort.
He does. He has a great gimmick. In the sense that he hates indie guys, but it seems like in the main roster, they're playing more up to the fact that he's going to be the lone wolf. Baron Corbin could be good if they played more up to him hating indie guys rather than playing up to the fact that he's this lone wolf monotonous character, because the monotone thing never works. It never works, and yet for whatever reason, they like to keep rehashing it. Yeah, like, there's so much for him to do. He could actually bury Smarks as well when they start trying to hijack his matches. There's a lot they could do with Baron Corbin's character in that sense that they're just not doing with it. They're just making him this regular guy with a tummy face.
Becky Lynch. You know, there's just something about Becky Lynch that you can't help but like. It's not even just that she's not being shoved down our throats as much as Charlotte, but in general, she's just a really likable person. She hasn't let the success go through her head the way it has for Charlotte and Sasha, and she genuinely cares about helping the division grow instead of just getting herself over.
Becky Lynch is actually one of the very few reasons that I still watch SmackDown, and it's like you said, you know, they make her this whole underdog where she's not burying anybody. The only thing, I have an issue with the fact that she never wins her matches. Like, okay, I understand what you're trying to do. I understand you're trying to play up to the fact that she's an underdog. She doesn't have to win every match. That's all good and dandy. But she doesn't win often enough for me to believe that she can win the big one. Like, the loss to Natalya was completely unnecessary, especially knowing the fact that Natalya might be on the way out, and she's an old veteran that just puts divas over. And yet the only feud she's won in like the last 6 years was the one against Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch is a great wrestler. She's not good on the mic. She's okay. She's at least good enough, I think, to be the face of the SmackDown women's division. And she should be pretty good for years to come. Like, the good thing is with Becky Lynch is that you can't really see anybody being the top face over her on SmackDown, really.
Bray Wyatt. I think everyone will agree that the Bray Wyatt character had a lot of potential when it started to be something huge, but now with how much the company has ruined his credibility, it's at the point where there's probably no way for him to recover anymore. And it's a shame because Bray is one of the truly great characters the company has right now. So for him to be as wasted as badly as he has, while guys like Finn Balor are being built up to be the next face of the WWE, it's just really sad. And it's a perfect example of what is wrong with the WWE right now.
I don't know if you can sense the, tone of disappointment in my voice. He honestly could have been the next Undertaker. And like you said, they do so much. They do so many things. Or they create these scenarios where, okay, maybe Bray Wyatt will finally dig himself out of the hole that they buried him in for all these years. But no. Like, we're at a point where no matter how hard you try, I think Bray Wyatt's been ruined for good. Like you said, they might give us a Bray Wyatt title run. Like, they're still trying to push him as a top heel on SmackDown. But the problem is that you've ruined him. And you can try and make him seem like this big deal. But the bottom line is we know that Bray Wyatt doesn't win any feuds. So it's just not believable.
Carmella. I think Carmella is really missing her spark without Enzo and Cass. And I think that's because they pulled her away from NXT before she really had time to develop on her own. Because right now, she just feels like a cheaper female version of Enzo, and that stigma is kind of hurting her potential.
Yeah. You pretty much hit the nail on the head there. Carmella is really out of place on SmackDown. I don't even know what she could do. Like, I can't even see her being a valet for anybody aside from Enzo and Cass. So, yeah, I mean, the thing is, Carmella's just not, she doesn't really fit on SmackDown. They should have never split her up from Enzo and Cass. And if they were going to split her up, they should have just kept her on NXT. Like, there should have been no reason as to why she was a draft pick for SmackDown during the draft.
The world's greatest tag team, Charlie Haas and Shelton Benjamin. You know, it's great to have the world's greatest tag team back in the WWE. They're a pretty solid tag team to have around and help the division, so it's good to have them there.
Yeah, I think American Alpha they're good, but I think the catchphrase is really weak. They are pretty good wrestlers. They're entertaining. I think they could work well. But if Kurt Angle ever came back, it would make sense to put him with American Alpha and have them be like a new and improved Team Angle, if you will. So, like you said, good for what they do. They're probably the best tag team SmackDown has in a very depleted tag team roster that SmackDown has. I mean, I can definitely see them being the first tag team champions that SmackDown gets.
Dean Ambrose. You know, I've always kind of liked Dean Ambrose, even back when Omar tried to tell me that he sucks when he debuted with the Shield. He's always been one of the few guys that actually has a personality and solid mic skills. So he's alright with me. I think he's good enough to be one of the top guys on SmackDown, although he doesn't really feel like a top guy right now. Maybe that could change with better booking, but yeah, Ambrose is a cool guy in my book.
It's definitely the best guy SmackDown has. A great choice, in my opinion, to be like the leader of the SmackDown Live movement. The only issue is that, you know, there's not really a heel for him to go against. It could have been Bray Wyatt had they not buried him beyond salvation. Yeah, Dean Ambrose is one of those guys that I like, that the internet praises so much, and now it seems like they're turning on him. It's funny. Now they're starting to bury him because like they say that he's not a good wrestler, and I don't think that they ever really touted his wrestling ability. They more touted his mic work, which is still not bad at all. I mean, yeah, he's this goofball PG character that Stone Cold called him out on the podcast, but I mean, that's not necessarily his fault, and he tries to do what he can to make it edgy and make it like, I like how he's still like this guy that he doesn't really like a lot of faces, like he did with Dolph Ziggler. So Dean Ambrose is still good on the mic, like he's always been. He's still a good character, and I mean, his ring work is just fine. I don't understand where this thing is coming from, where he's like a quote unquote a bad wrestler, and he doesn't deserve the WWE Championship anymore. So I don't know. I mean, I like Dean Ambrose. I think he's really good. He should be like a 20-time world champion before it's all said and done.
Dolph Ziggler. Ziggler's always been one of the great utility players that you can throw at your top guys to get a good match. He's never going to be the top guy, especially now that Smarks have turned their backs on him. Now that they have new favorites to hijack shows for. And you kind of feel bad for the guy because he's not any worse now than he was 3 years ago. It's just Smarks got tired of him, and now all they care about is NXT guys.
You can go back and watch all our videos. I never bought into Dolph Ziggler. I never liked Dolph Ziggler just because, like, I never saw what it was about him that touted him, that made him earn this whole reputation as this potential main event talent. Because I look at Dolph Ziggler, he's very average on the mic at best. In the ring, he just flops around like a dead fish with, you know, uninspired moves that aren't very good. And it's just a thing where it's like, okay, now I'm supposed to believe that he's a main eventer again, just all of a sudden. Like, it's this thing that WWE does that's so stupid that just, like, insults our intelligence. Like, they bury this somebody beyond salvation, beyond repairs, and then all of a sudden they'll give him this push out of nowhere, and we're supposed to believe that he's this big deal again. Like, you can't just do that. You can't just push someone out of absolutely nowhere and make them this main eventer again. You make this guy lose so much that even the Smarks don't care about him anymore, and they lose hope for him, so that when you do push him, eventually they're like, wow, dude, they already buried this guy. What's the point anymore? When even the Smarks start to say that, that's when you know you've waited too long to push the guy. And I've never liked the guy. I never thought that he had the it factor. I think he's a mid-carder at best. and that's where he should be on SmackDown. Maybe an upper mid-carder like he used to be, but the occasional flash in the pan moment. But I don't like this idea that he's going to be one of the top faces on SmackDown like he probably will be.
Eva Marie. Eva Marie is the greatest heel in wrestling history. All hail the Red Queen.
Yeah, for as much crap as Eva Marie gets, people are so stupid. Like, the WWE is literally booking her to make you hate her because she can't wrestle. They're literally acknowledging that she can't wrestle, and yet you people... Like, I saw a post the other day saying that, you have to show off your tits in order to hide the fact that you can't wrestle. Don't you understand that that's what they're fucking doing? Like, they're playing up to the fact that she can't wrestle to piss you off even more and make her get more heat than she already gets. And it's working to fucking perfection. Yeah, so, I think what Eva Marie is to SmackDown, what Lana should be for Raw.
The Usos. Meh.
I used to really like the Usos back in the day. Now they're just okay with me. Like, I don't mind them, but they're not like necessarily guys I'm gonna vouch for to get main event pushes at any point anymore. They're just kind of there, It's like, I don't know what they're gonna do. They try to put them with Roman Reigns and make them a big deal again, and all that did was get the smarks to turn on them. I don't know what you can do with the Usos anymore. They've pretty much done all that there is to do. I can't really picture an interesting scenario for them anymore. So, I don't know what you do with the Usos now.
John Cena. We've kind of come a full circle, folks. John Cena killed wrestling, and now he's the only one that can save wrestling. Unfortunately, though, this might be the one era where he finally decides to put people over, in which case I guess no one can save wrestling anymore.
One of the reasons that we did end up at this point was because John Cena buried all the good guys that there was. We need him to get us out of it. Like, John Cena, you got us into this pickle. We need you to get us out of this pickle. Because right now, the sad thing is that John Cena is one of the best guys on the roster. And that's the sad truth. The guy's still a goofball. The guy's still everything that we were complaining about all those years prior. But he's still better than about 80% of what we have now.
Kalisto. He's pretty good at doing lucha things. Although he can't really do that many lucha things on SmackDown since Raw is where the cruiserweights are. So he's kind of just there doing not so lucha things.
Yeah, it definitely made absolutely no sense to draft this guy to SmackDown. I understand you wanted to break up the Lucha Dragons, but I mean, you acknowledged the week before the draft that they were already broken up, and then you draft them on different shows. Like, you already acknowledged that they were broken up. There was no need to actually legitimately break them up and split them into different shows. And Kalisto really seems out of place on SmackDown. I mean, he could be a decent mid-card guy since he's already been United States champion. He'd been better off on Raw with the Cruiserweight division, feuding with Neville, and feuding with Sami Zayn, guys like that for the Cruiserweight title. I think maybe we're in line for something like a big trade to happen sometime down the line where they finally realize that, holy crap, this guy should have been here, this guy should have been on SmackDown, this guy should have been on Raw, and we fucked up. So hopefully there is a big trade down the line. Kalisto should definitely be a part of it if it does happen.
Kane. If there was ever a period to give Kane another main event run, this would probably be it, because he's one of the last legit stars left in the company.
It's exactly like we said about the Big Show. If they're ever going to do like their yearly push, why not do it now? Especially with Kane right now, he's the Demon Kane. Even though he's old and played out, and I understand you want to build up to this new era, like, Kane is still a useful asset to have on a show, and you're not utilizing him. You're putting him on main event and shit, so it's kind of dumb. As with Kane, I think he needs a heel turn for one. Like, I'm pretty sure right now he's a face. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think Kane has ever had a good feud as a face, because he's a really useful asset for SmackDown right now, especially since John Cena's not going to be around. Yeah, Kane can be a useful asset for SmackDown if they push him. And it's like you said, if there's at any point that they should push the Big Show and Kane, like they usually do, it's now.
The Miz and Maryse. You know, if The Miz never gets another world title reign within the next year, then there is definitely something wrong with the WWE. Because The Miz is one of the few guys from the old era that has proven he can hang with and outshine all the guys from this new era. This run that he's had as the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time has been proof that he has what it takes to be a legitimate champion. So there's no reason to not give him another run with the world title, except for the fact that Triple H hates him. But I mean, look at all the guys that Triple H has tried to push that ended up flopping before they could even make it to the main event. So maybe it's time that you suck up your ego and put the title on a guy that has main evented the highest grossing WrestleMania of all time, rather than trying to push guys who have been responsible for the lowest rated Raws of all time.
So the fact that The Miz is like probably one of the more credible guys on the SmackDown Live roster shows you that he probably is going to go to the main event once he drops the IC title, which could be as early as SummerSlam, to Apollo Crews. I don't know. I don't know. I've kind of lost. The magic with The Miz is gone. The only time I ever really liked the guy was in 2011 when he was a champion. He was actually doing pretty well. But The Miz should be a top heel on SmackDown because he's probably one of the only credible guys they have left. Yeah, I think Maryse would be really useful for the SmackDown women's division. But the thing is, I don't think she wants to wrestle, so right now she's pretty much utilized about as well as she can be as the Miz's valet. And again, just like I've said with valets, you know, valets make a difference. The Miz was a worthless jobber back before he had Maryse, who wasn't getting pushed. Now he's a worthless jobber with a hot wife that's getting pushed. So there you see the difference that a valet can make.
Naomi. I think Naomi is one of the biggest ones that's going to end up benefiting from the brand split. Because before the brand split, her chances of ever being relevant again dropped to 0%. But now with the brand split, I fully expect her to at least get one more reign as a champion at some point in the future. It might not be right away, but eventually she's going to have to win the title.
Yeah, like you said, I even forgot Naomi was still on the roster. Before you said her name, I actually legitimately forgot that she was on there. So, I mean, that just shows how badly she's been buried. I actually think she's really talented. She's actually really entertaining to watch in the ring. She's a decent heel. I've kind of gone back on it. Like, she's not as bad of a heel as I remember she was. I think she got better. So, that's about it. I mean, Naomi's lost in the shuffle, and I don't think she's ever going to get out of it.
Natalya. You know, there's not much that you can say about Natalya that hasn't already been said. I think Natalya may be the best wrestler that the division has ever had. She just has that ability to be able to take anyone and make them look 10 times better than they actually are, even if they were already good to begin with. And that's just a level of skill that is just on another level, and you can't teach that.
I mean, she's a good veteran to have on the roster. She's at least somewhat credible because she was Divas champion at women's champion at one point. I mean, she's really bad as a heel. They really gotta turn her face or something because she's horrible as a heel. Natalya is probably one of the most talented women's wrestlers that there's ever been, but the issue here is she's not really enticing as a character. She's not enticing as a character. Apparently, I heard this was a rumor that she might leave just because TJ is. I think his career is over. So, if that's true, it kind of sucks. But at the same time, like, I don't think SmackDown will really be missing a whole lot if Natalya does retire.
Randy Orton. Kind of had a love-hate relationship with Randy Orton the past few years. I loved him as a legend killer. I hated his entire run as a Viper. But every now and then, he shows glimpses of the legend killer persona that I used to like. Plus, now he's one of the last few hopes for WWE to stop NXT from ruining WWE and turning it into an indie fed. So I'm probably going to be rooting for him now more than ever.
Just like with John Cena, he's one of the guys that kind of killed wrestling because he buried everybody. And you can't forget that he's one of the guys that got us to this point. But since he is better than fucking everybody else that's on the roster right now, damn near, you kind of want him to make up for the damage he did by doing even more damage and having them have to restart a new era with guys that are actually good. So with Randy Orton, he's gotten better, he's gotten more entertaining, but I feel like this is like a cycle we go through with Randy Orton, because I feel like we say this a lot, where Randy Orton will have these couple of weeks or maybe like a feud where he's actually good and it seems like he's charismatic again, and then he'll slowly start to, simmer down and he'll start to be boring again as time goes on. Like, I honestly think that this is a result, like, he's okay now, but I honestly think that this is a result, the reason that we're touting him so highly is more a result of his absence playing a role into it, and now that he's back, and like, we missed him without even knowing it, and then once he starts being there for a while, we're gonna want him gone again.
Zack Ryder. If Zack Ryder does not get another big push during this brand split, then there's no hope left for his career, unfortunately. I mean, if goofballs like Finn Balor can be main eventers, there is no reason why Zack Ryder can't at least be one of the top guys of SmackDown.
Mojo Rawley and Zack Ryder.
So there's the SmackDown roster, and overall, I think we can say that there's a lot more guys on SmackDown that we like, or at least have potential to like, compared to the Raw roster. So I think we can officially say that we're SmackDown guys all the way.
Yeah, I mean, both rosters are pretty bad, considering that if we're talking about which roster is better balanced in terms of veteran guys that are credible, young guys with potential, characters with upside, divas that are divas, old school kind of divas. I'm sorry, women that are old school kind of women. And in terms of that, like, I think the only thing Raw has SmackDown beaten in roster is probably tag teams, but that's just because they have more tag teams. So I don't know. SmackDown, you're right, is better roster than Raw, better balanced, but that's about it.